What's going on, YouTube, man? Glad to have you guys with us. My name is Michael Sedetall. As you all know, man, I'm glad to have you watching LSU Recruiting HQ. We got a lot to get into today. LSU's been all in the news this week, and this time it's all trending upwards. Finally, we ain't getting no negative news. Man, we finally got a defensive coordinator, so we definitely going to talk about that. We also got linebackers, coaches, D-line coaches. We got the 2021 football schedule to talk about. And also, we're going to talk about LSU hoops. Man, big win this week. Get back on track against A&M. But boy, do they got a challenge coming their way this weekend. Texas Tech rolls into the PMAC Saturday. It's going to be exciting. I'm not sure how LSU is going to fare, but I'm looking forward to watching it. And you know we're going to talk about recruiting, man. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure, if you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and go ahead and follow on Twitter. Alright guys, man, first thing we're going to talk about and get into is going to be the defensive coordinator hiring for Ed Orgeron. Going and get Durante Jones from the Minnesota Vikings. Man was the secondaries coach, and all I'm hearing is great stuff about it. Man, I'm super excited to have him on the staff, getting to work. And Coach O, man, I gotta give him a round of applause, man. He did a great job finding this cat. So who is Durante Jones? Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. Name wasn't even in my head. If you would have asked me this last week, man, I would have had no clue who the heck you were even talking about. But man, you deep dive into this man's resume, and he's a baller. He is a baller as well, man. Dave Aranda worked under him. Worked under guys like Mike Zimmer. Coached for the Bengals. Man's been all over the place. He's coached at every single level, and he also has Louisiana ties. He coached high school in the early 2000s, before moving to the college ranks. So he has that Louisiana connection that everybody's talking about. And he's a young minority coach, and that is what LSU needed, young coaches, and they got it. And I couldn't be more happy to have this guy aboard. I feel like he's going to do a great job. As I've been saying before, you can't be any worse than the last guy we had, so I look forward to seeing what Durante Jones can do, and let's talk about now, who he has added to his staff. So we got a new linebackers coach, the former defensive coordinator from Miami, Blake Baker. And why is that important? Well, if you watched LSU last year, you know what positions struggled the most: the linebackers and the safeties. And what are these two coaches gonna coach? Durante Jones is gonna coach the safeties. Blake Baker is gonna coach the linebackers. And my goodness, the linebackers were horrible the first 4 to 5 games of the year. Terrible. Then the safeties took over, and they decided to carry that stone for the rest of the season. But anyway, Blake Baker, like I said, former defensive coordinator, Manny Diaz made the decision after the year this year to resume play calling on the defensive side of the ball, so that was kind of a shot at him. And everybody kind of figured, this relationship wasn't going to last much longer. And I'm just glad LSU was able, they say he's the linebackers coach, but I got a feeling there's going to be other incentives with that, because he wouldn't just downgrade from defensive coordinator to linebackers coach without being fired. He was still technically on the staff at Miami. So that's kind of confusing, how all that went down, but we're glad to have him, and I really think he can take this defense, and these linebackers got crazy talent, and I know the talent throughout the whole defense, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with the 2021 defense, and they should be carrying this team next year, because if you look across the board, man, defensive line is loaded, returning all the starters. linebacker, you're returning both your starters there, and in the secondary is, as you know, Ricks and Stingley are just two of the best in the business, and that safety spot is obviously going to be a concern, but you can't sit there and tell me that it's not going to be talented back there. So it's just how quick can these young guys get adjusted back there. And like I said, LSU goes, the defense goes, and LSU goes because that offense is going to be just fine. I got a feeling with Peets and Mangus back there calling shots, and who knows who the quarterback is going to be, but I think that quarterback room is the most talented, if not the best in the country. So I mean, I don't think we have much to worry about on the offensive side of the ball, but these guys on defense, man, they got a lot to work with, and I hope they have a lot of success. All right, guys. With that being said, let's get on to this 2021 football schedule. Man, I was excited. Football just ended, and LSU kind of left a good taste in everybody's mouth by the way they finished the season. So I'm excited, man. I'm ready for next season, get here, and ready for spring ball. Hopefully, they get all their stuff in with the COVID and be able to have a spring game and all that. Because, man, we bleed purple and gold football out here, and I know everybody's excited. So let's go ahead and go through the schedule, man. We got Saturday, September 4th, opening weekend is going to be at the Rose Bowl facing UCLA, man. That's a big time matchup. It's going to be all over prime time. UCLA is one of the best up and coming teams. If you watched them at all last year, Chip Kelly has got that offense humming, and man, their quarterback is a talented dude. And then, we go back to the game that got canceled. I believe it was 2015. 2015, this game got canceled. We're going to be facing McNeese State in Tiger Stadium to open up the home season. And then for the first time ever, they're going to be facing Central Michigan that third weekend, September 18th at Tiger Stadium. And then, boy, oh boy, I feel bad for Mississippi State because they got something coming to them. Opening weekend for the SEC on the September 25th at Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville, facing Mississippi State to open up the conference schedule again. That's going to be a good day for the Tigers, I think, because I'm pretty sure they're not happy about what happened last year. And, Mississippi State, I think they're on the decline. Let's just say that. And then here comes the meat of the schedule, man. Facing Auburn, getting Auburn at home this year. As you guys know, man, the home team wins that game damn near every year, except for that one time. Cole Tracy took it into his own hands to ruin 80,000 Auburn fans' day in 2018. I was there for that game, man. That was wild. And then a matchup we haven't seen in a while, and a lot of people are going to want to forget this matchup ever happened. At Kentucky on October 9th at Kroger Field in Lexington. Last time LSU was there, man, we had Andre Woodson, we had Matt Flynn, Jacob Hester leading the offenses on both sides, and my goodness, that triple overtime thriller, man. Boy, I was so young, but man, I cried my eyes out because I was like, man, they just got their loss, man. They were the number one team in the country. Boy, that was a great football game, but definitely not one LSU fans want to remember about the last time they played at Kentucky. Then we go, probably, personally, my favorite game of the year next will be October 16th at Tiger Stadium. LSU looking for the three-peat against the Florida Gators. And man, I can't stand Florida, so I'm so glad that the schedule worked out, and we hopefully this game doesn't get delayed, because it seems like every year, the game's getting pushed back, there's a hurricane or something. I mean, all kinds of stuff this series has been wild over the last 10 years, so I'm looking forward to that one for sure. That should be That should be LSU's toughest game to start the beginning of the year. Obviously the Alabama game is probably their toughest game, but the Florida, I mean, looking what they have coming back, LSU should be able to compete with them, should be able to beat them at home. I'm looking forward to that game. And then the week after that, we have Ole Miss taking our talents to Oxford. And as you guys know from the last game of the season, Ole Miss can score some points. And they scored some points on LSU in 2019. That was when the sky was falling and LSU's defense was awful, and there was no shot they were going to win a national championship because Ole Miss hung 30 on them. But that's a story for another time. But October 23rd, Ole Miss versus LSU. That should be a great game. I feel like this Lane Kiffin Coach O kind of friendship rivalry is gonna be pretty entertaining to watch in the SEC. And then of course we always have our bye week, Halloween weekend. So all the LSU boys will be able to party on Saturday, get all their Halloween parties in. You don't have to worry about getting your behind cut by Auburn and then going to it like you did this year. So it got your bye week typically before the Alabama game. So who are we facing? Alabama, November 6th at Bryant-Denny. Last time LSU was there, one of my favorite games I've ever watched. One of the best college football games I've watched, period. LSU's, we'll have to see. We will have to see. That's the game that's the benchmark, man. Alabama's the standard in this conference, and if you want to win the conference, you got to go through them. All right, and they don't lose very often at home, but it depends on how LSU's playing at the time, man. LSU's got the talent; they can beat anybody in the country. So, all right, after the Alabama game, we're gonna go into November 13th and face Arkansas, man. My favorite up and coming team in the SEC, man. I love their coach. Love Sam Pittman, job he's doing at Arkansas. But Tigers got way too much talent to be losing games like that at home. I see LSU being able to handle that one, especially coming off of Alabama game. Whether they win or lose that game, be motivated to finish the season on a good note. All right, and then the next weekend, LSU has its typical final non-conference game. They'll face ULM Warhawks, man, at Tiger Stadium. That should be a good matchup, good regroup game. Depending on how the season's going, things to get things cleaned up, and then obviously last game of the year, man, LSU hosts Texas A&M, and this game has turned into a real rivalry because this is this game. When it first got put on the last day of the season, I was kind of like, man, this matchup doesn't make no sense. I really enjoyed watching Arkansas on Good Friday or on the Friday, Black Friday, before after Thanksgiving. That was like the tradition in my house, man. You watch LSU beat the shit out of Arkansas, or you'd watch them choke and lose to a very untalented Arkansas team, like they did a lot actually. But when this A&M got announced, I wasn't the biggest fan. LSU hadn't lost to A&M since they joined the league at that time, so I was thinking, but A&M, they picked it up, man. They started recruiting, they started running their system. They got Jimbo in there, and they ain't turned back yet. So this is a big year for, I think, LSU and Texas A&M. Which one of those two teams can take the lead and pass Alabama, or is it even possible? I don't know. Alabama's a great team. They're not gonna go away until old Nicky retires. And like I said, Texas A&M, that's gonna be a great game, November 27th. Then the SEC championship game will be that following weekend, December 4th, of course, in Atlanta, in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, man, what do you guys think, man? Drop what you guys think about the schedule and what you guys think LSU's record is going to be. I'm not going to say my prediction just yet, but a lot of LSU fans have come at me, said, hey, man, we're going 10-2, 11-1, And that's the kind of thinking I like to hear, this early in the season. Me personally, I got to figure out who this quarterback is going to be, or I got to figure out what's going on with Miles Brennan. Because I think if Miles Brennan is our quarterback, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit on this team. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll definitely on this show most likely do a football preview show where we'll go through each game individually and we'll give our predictions. That'll probably be obviously more towards the late summer, and we'll go ahead and get that for you guys. Alright guys, next thing we're going to get into, man, we're going to talk about LSU basketball. Big time win this week to get back on track after losing in Lexington this past Saturday. They take care of A&M. The last 8 minutes of the game held them without a field goal. Man, that's, this team is so frustrating. Because you see spurts of what they could be, and it just makes you want to hang your head because they can score on anybody. Everybody knows that. But man, if they could just lock in for 10 minutes a game and play some defense, man, they'd be blowing these teams out. And like I said, it's just frustrating to watch right now. And, well, we're going to talk about what they got coming up next. Texas Tech, played in the national championship 2 years ago. Lost to Virginia. Been in the Final Four multiple times under this coach. And what do? What do they specialize in? They specialize in defense and rebounding. This is not the matchup I want to see as an LSU fan. I don't think this is a very good matchup for Will Wade and the way he coaches. You got a team and Texas Tech coming into the PMAC that will lock you up for 60 minutes. And they want to play a game that's 50-47, and they could care less. They don't score the basketball, alright? They score the basketball when you turn the ball over because their defense is elite. So this is a game where LSU, specifically like people like Cam Thomas, Trendon Wofford has to dominate the point or the boards, and then he has to dominate in the paint. There's no way LSU loses or wins this game without Wofford having a huge game, and Cam Thomas is gonna have to make tough shots. I know he can do it. He's just gonna have to be way more efficient this game because the Texas Tech coach is gonna say, hey, this kid can score 30 on us at any given moment. We're gonna take him out this game, and we're gonna worry about the other guys and see if they can beat us. So this is gonna be a game where Cam Thomas might have to just pass the ball every now and then. And know that I don't think he has an X button on his controller, but we need to get him one for this weekend because people like Javante and Darius Days has got to start playing better. They got to start giving us better minutes. Darius Days is getting in foul trouble a lot, and it's really costing him as far as his time on the court. And I know Darius is a great player, but he's not on the court for a majority of the first half because he's usually in foul trouble. And like I said, Wofford's going to have to do a good job of attacking the rim, and Cam Thomas attacking the rim and getting guys into foul trouble and getting this, seeing what the depth. I think that's a problem at Texas Tech. They have a great starting five, but there's not much depth on that team. But they play tremendous defense, and like I said, they want to win ugly. And like I said, it doesn't matter how much LSU can score because they've proven that they go through little spells where they can't score on anybody, and it's cost them a lot. And Kentucky bothered them a lot with their size, and I believe Texas Tech will too. So it's going to be something. I think they learned a lot from that Kentucky game. Learned a lot from getting dropped by Alabama on their face, and so I think this team, we're going to start to see them mature more. But I don't think Saturday's the day we see that. I don't have very high expectations for the game. Hopefully it's a close game. You never want to get blown out, but my chances of LSU winning aren't great. But this is a big, like I said, if they can somehow find a way, man. I think last I seen LSU was sitting on that 10 seed line in the NCAA tournament, and this is a game. You're facing a top 15 opponent and at your own place. So this is a major opportunity to get a huge non-conference win to show everybody like, hey, the SEC came to play. This is a big weekend. If you're watching this weekend, man, root for some SEC teams to win. We need some wins in this Big 12 or SEC challenge, and to boost this conference's resume, and that'll get LSU on a higher seed line for sure. Because you definitely don't want to end up on one of those middle seed lines, and that's what it's looking like LSU is going to end up getting. So, with that being said, let's move on to our next segment. Alright, guys, the last thing we want to bring up is going to be recruiting. 24/7 Sports came out with their latest, and I believe this is their final rankings for 2021 class. Obviously LSU's class is headlined by Mason Smith. He's their number one prospect, number one in the state of Louisiana. But guys like Garrett Nussmeier moved up a lot, and I believe he's a top 150 prospect now. Matthew Langus definitely got a big bump. People like Corey Kiner got a big bump. And in total, LSU's signees ranked, how many they have? 8 total signees in the top 100, which is, that's big time right there. And with the reshuffling of the player rankings, LSU ended up jumping Clemson into the number 4 spot in the 24 composite rankings. And like I said, they still got 3 spots left, and they can definitely make some noise, getting Brian Thomas on board. We'll see. Hey, you never know. Rajon Davis out there in Cali, man, he's looking at these defensive coordinator hires and linebackers coach hires, maybe has a change of heart. He was committed to Coach O for a long time, but he recently just took a visit to Ohio State, so I wouldn't get your hopes up on that one. And definitely look for, Coach O mentioned on the radio this past week that he's looking at 3 transfer portal linebackers, and the first guys that come to my name is the kid from Tennessee. I believe his name's Henry Toto. I probably butchered that last name, but I believe that's his name. And the man led the SEC in tackles his sophomore year. And so, that's a guy we definitely could use and immediately come in and play. Also a kid from Clemson, a former 4-star prospect, just announced that he's transferring away from Clemson. He's a big-time player as well. He had a huge year this past year, and not sure the reason why he's transferring, but that's definitely another guy we can look into. Like I said, with 3 spots left to work with, I think LSU is pretty set on who they're going after, but there could be a surprise here and there at the end. So we'll see how that shakes out. Going into the 2022 class, it's been a little bit of an off week as far as LaTerrence Welsh committed last week. We got Will Campbell coming up Saturday, which is leaning heavy towards the Tigers. But guys like Jaden Allen decommitting, opening things back up, that's a top 100 player that LSU's missing out on. Definitely could get back in the mix, but with that whole situation has been a mess as of late. Hearing 24/7 came out with something yesterday talking about Bryce Anderson looking to reopen his commitment. That's another top 100 player LSU could possibly lose. But Coach O, there's guys in this state specifically that are just unreal, and they're gonna get their LSU offers, and it's gonna come eventually, and I'm not too worried. You always want to have the best guys, but sometimes the best guys are the guys right under your nose in your own state. And the offensive line in this state is this is a big year for offensive linemen. the kid from Newman, just got his offer last week, and LSU's trending for him. Will Campbell, like I said, Emory Jones out of Catholic. All these guys are trending towards LSU, and I got a feeling Coach O is going to seal the deal on that one. So guys, man, that wraps up another episode of LSU Recruiting. Man, I'm glad to have you guys with us. Hopefully, you guys can tune in next week. We always got a big show planned. Just go ahead, if you haven't already, follow on Twitter, man. Keep updated with what's going on in LSU sports. We're covering all sports. Baseball season's coming up. We'll probably talk about the Texas Tech game next week. And I hope you guys join us. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that follow, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the video. I'm always here. I want to hear you guys' opinion and make the show as good as it can be. So, once again, thank you guys for watching, man.